Whew. I will see if YouTube decides to let this thing populate. But in the meantime, dream time. What is up, everyone? Happy Wednesday to you. There it is. You know, it's crazy. I mean, this world is crazy. That's all I can say. The world is crazy. And, I try to check out of it because it's depressing. And, it was funny. I was looking at Ian Carroll, and I guess he was talking about how he has just had his, shit filter full with, modern media and journalism. And, he was kind of talking about some of his coverage and kind of diversifying from all the, bad, 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 and try to center on like good things because it's so much bad, wicked stuff going on in this world that it can like really mess with your mind if you stay tuned into all of it. You know what I mean? And if you're a fanatic of a political party or a fanatic of whatever, if you're too, intertwined in these things and these affairs of people that, really are beyond your control, you could just get way too emotionally invested and you could just lose your marbles. You could lose relationships. I mean, I think about, just 2020, how people were so politicized that, it was like at one point in being an American, nobody really knew what other people's political affiliations were. Politics was something that you did not talk about. It was kind of one of those topics that were considered risque. Same as religion, risque topics, and now these are kind of topics to get people on the bandwagon of an emotional ignorance with. So it's kind of funny how American society has changed. But off that, we still have to check in to the world, just to kind of see what's going on. It's for our own protection, even though we're not being consumed with it. And as I'm checking into the world, this news story came, across my feeds. And I couldn't even believe what I was hearing. And it was a news that says that this wife, she had found out via her home surveillance that he was violating their family dog in the most disgusting Sodom and Gomorrah type of way, if you know what I mean. And I'm just sitting up there like, and he is a lawyer. This is a lawyer. This man is supposed to be a lawyer. I got like a short here. Hang on. Now this is an attorney from Texas. All right, and I want you to hear what this man is being accused of and how his wife come to find out that this is what this man was doing. Hang on. I mean, it will blow your mind.
And charged for SAing an animal. Authorities allege that the incident occurred in November of 2025 at the man's residence in Harris County, Texas. The suspect, identified as Stephen Tyler Swain, is accused of engaging in conduct involving the family's dog that led to a felony charge of SA of an animal under Texas law. The case came to light after Swain's wife reportedly installed indoor surveillance cameras while contractors were working on.
So this woman decides, and what's going on, chat? I gotta go back to the chat so I can see it because it's kind of small on my phone. But what's going on, everybody? Now, this man's wife, what's going on? Is it Leon? What's going on? Crazy Christian. How are you? Hopefully, your Jesus is uncrazying you. But listen, this woman hire a contractor just to make sure that these folks weren't stealing her things, right? She's like, I got these guys in my house. I don't know what they're doing, right? And I'm trying to protect my family. So I'm going to put some surveillance tape around just to see if, make sure everything is copacetic, right? So she's playing back her surveillance tapes, right? Because surveillance tapes for like housewives is like tea. Like, let's see what these guys were doing, right? And she catches her husband in what appears to be violating the family dog. And I'm going to say SAing because this is YouTube, and YouTube is very sensitive about how you talk about the behaviors of their people. All right. But this woman just wanted to make sure that these folks weren't stealing from her, and this is what she found out.
On things inside of their home, she wanted to ensure that nothing was stolen and or damaged. Upon later reviewing the footage, she told investigators she observed what she believed to be was her husband engaging in sexual conduct with the household dog. She also provided the video evidence to authorities, which they were able to determine was in fact him sexually abusing the dog. Following the discovery, the dog was removed from the home for its safety and placed out of the household environment. Harris County authorities ended up recently filing charges in the 183rd District Court and issued an arrest warrant for Swain. At the moment, he has not been arrested.
Can you imagine that as a wife? Like, it's one thing to cheat on me with another woman. I mean, you can't even think of me. I mean, that's to me, I feel like that's as low as you can go as my husband, is when you are cheating on me with another woman. You are giving your affection and all that stuff for another woman. But to find out you are cheating with the family dog, I mean, that's just like a whole other level of what the hell. Like, I did not satisfy you that much, or you are just such a sexual deviant like this that you would go and get your sexual satisfaction from our family dog. Like, I know, like, in the back of this woman's mind, she would have felt much better if it was another woman. Like, because another dog, a dog? Like I'm sure somewhere deep in her soul, it was like, she's probably like, I wish that it was another woman, not our family dog. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy.
Nor has he made his first initial court appearance. Now that the warrant has been made public, he has the opportunity to turn himself in, or authorities will find him and take him into custody on their own time and on their own terms. Under Texas law, SA of an animal is classified as a state jail felony, which can carry a sentence ranging from 180 days to 2 years in a state jail facility, along with fines.
Can you imagine him going to jail and somebody else asking him, like, you know, they are going through their little, what did you do? Or what are you in for? And, you know, one dude's like, well, I robbed these people. Other dude is like, I murdered one of my operatives. Other dude, like, I kept beating up my baby mama and it was a felony. So I you know, I'm in here. What about you? What about you? I don't want to share right now. No, motherfucker, all of us are sharing right now. What about you? What are you in for? Don't make us find out. I'm in for violating the family dog. What do you mean? And you know these jail dudes, they gonna be like, specifically, what do you mean violating? I don't even know how people like that survive in jail. When you are abusing animals. And, you know, it's crazy. I led with the abusing the animal story from this lawyer guy, right? From this lawyer guy. But as, you know, I've been listening to my news feeds recently. I've been reading and hearing a lot of news stories about doctors and pediatricians who have been arrested for child possession of child, you know, inappropriate graphics, right? YouTube is so weird. We can't say like regular words that's in the dictionary. They got us like censoring ourselves, you know, with things like that. But we have doctors, several doctors, just in Michigan, right? I'm just going down 3 months ago. Ann Arbor pediatric urologist arrested on child sexual abuse material charges. All right, 5 months ago, former Michigan doctor sentenced to prison for criminal sexual conduct, right? Michigan doctor accused of soliciting a mom to have sexual relationship with a 5-year-old. These are doctors, deviant doctors, okay? Police say doctor arrested in child case was extremely explicit. These are just the Michigan doctors, right? I'm pretty sure there's a plethora of these doctors getting busted all over these different states, United States. But these are just Michigan doctor. 8 months ago, Michigan doctor arrested in undercover child exploitation sting. Again, these are doctors, right? It's insane. Constantly. And so I'm reading a story about the recent case, right? And this is a 32-year-old doctor who recently pled guilty after the FBI busted him for child, abuse and exploitation and materials, right? This dude they're reading his text message. This dude says, I love being a pedo. Okay? A former Detroit doctor pleaded guilty this week to child pornography after an FBI investigation revealed a sting. So this dude was part of a sting. Lincoln Erickson, who is 32 years old, was arrested on December 10th. So he's been arrested. I guess the story is just making news after the feds discovered he was part of a large child pornography and sexual abuse ring. These are doctors. Okay, so when these people try to act like they are just so much better than other people, I mean, look at these deviants who are being arrested for violating children or having sick thoughts and fantasies that apparently they're acting out on, right? So this guy was part of Lincoln Erickson, 32, was arrested. He was part of a large sex pornography and sexual abuse ring, U.S. Attorney Jerome F. Gorgon announced. This dude said, I love being a pedo, Erickson wrote in one vile message. Bro, I love other pedophiles. Quote, so hot, the former medical resident who worked at Detroit Medical Center, so he worked at DMC Rehabilitation Institution of Michigan, wrote in a telegram message according to the outlet. Erickson's bus came after arrest of Brett Tooman in Ohio. So I guess this sick doctor was also a part of this pedo ring or whatever, and he was tied to it too. Tooman was taken into custody on March 29th. He was arrested last year after he allegedly traveled to Toledo to sexually abuse a 7-year-old girl and 6-month-old infant that he believed existed. These people are sick and they're doctors, right? They are running around with the title as doctors, right? Man, that makes Cheyenne Bryant lying about being a doctor not so damn bad to me. It's like these are actual doctors and they can't even carry themselves with some level of higher morality and esteem. Let that woman go around being, just don't say you a doctor no more, Cheyenne. But you did work that title better than some of these broads that actually have the title. So kudos to you for having the character and charisma. Just stop lying, girl. But you look at this doctor, these doctors that we're talking about, and I'm like, y'all better leave Cheyenne Bryant alone. Don't buy into any more of her stuff if you don't want to. But these people are out here getting arrested for violating children. Now, until Cheyenne Bryant gets a paper trail of violating children, I mean, this is much worse to me. This is much worse, right? So this disgusting deviant told another deviant that, and this is a guy named Joshua Ronenbaum, which led to an alleged text Okay, let me see. Leading to arrest of two men, Jeremy Bryan Tacon and Joshua Ronenbaum, who led to an alleged text thread with Erickson via Telegraph. Erickson told Ronenbaum that he blanked a boy and fantasized about having a child with another man, which they could all just violate from baby to adulthood, according to the court papers. Start them young, a message from Erickson said. Now, mind you, these people are part of that lineage of evil. These are Canaanite and Edomite descendant people, right? You can tell that that guy is a Edomite descendant. Okay, antiquities do not lie about who people are. You just got to be smart enough to know and follow those table of nations from Genesis. It's amazing how you will always know who people are because antiquities do not lie. And shout out to the Egyptians who are our rock star record keepers. So we always know the patterns of people. So here's another Edomite lineage of evil, right? Out here with these other lineage of evil folks talking about violating children. And again, you go back to the practices of the Canaanites. You go back to the Edomites who converted to basically the same religion as the Canaanites on so many different levels. These are literally, just lineages of evil, right? But they practice these things, right? A lot of these people, they're devil worshippers. And again, there is no greater sacrifice to these wicked spirits than babies, children. Why? Because to the Most High, they are precious. There is nothing more precious on this earth than children. They are precious because they represent legacies. They represent gifts from the Most High. So when these wicked lineage of evil people and they're worshiping their God who chose them, right? He's going to require not just any human sacrifice. He is going to require these children. This is why you have this this trafficking child violation, because these people are trying to empower themselves through these sacrifices. So again, you have another doctor, so-called esteemed professional, and these people are sexual deviants. So when you talk about the Epstein files and why these people are suppressing those files, because it would pretty much confirm what everybody knows, right? But people don't want to say because they will be labeled some bullshit, right? But there is a lineage of evil among humanity, and they're reoccurring in their practices and the things that they do. And, all I can say is that we will just pray that the thief comes and cast judgment upon these wicked people and these people on earth, because, again, this is Sodom and Gomorrah, but, unlike Sodom and Gomorrah, those cities were destroyed. Their judgments came, they were destroyed. These people, they will suffer the consequences of what they do. And even it's beyond arrest too, because once these people are in jail, they are no good to the demons at all. They are no good to the demons that they serve. They will no influence, no way of attacking anybody else. They are basically going to be left to the slaughter. That's why they try to keep a lot of their people out of jail, because they know they're going to get killed. But let me know what you guys think. What's going on in your state? Are you guys getting a lot of these doctor pedophiles cases that are just popping up? Pediatricians who are part of sex trafficking ring? These people are wicked. But it reminds me of 2 Timothy 3:1-5, where it talks about in the last days, people will have no natural affection, right? And, arguably, people have always done these little things that we see. There's nothing new under the sun on this earth. But In the last days, never will there be a time that we will see this out in the open. Never would there be a time where it would be protected. Back in the old days, that shit was not protected. People were put to death for doing certain things to certain people in societies. But now we see that these people are protected. They're protected, and so they're enabled, they're empowered by the network of deviants that protect them. They got a lot of money, right? And they're God, the devil. So we pray for everybody. Let me get to the chat over here. But it's sick. These people are really sick to me. You got a doctor, a lawyer banging the family dog. And then you got a doctor, you got these doctors who are coordinating, violating toddlers in networks. And there's networks of these so-called doctors who don't doctors take an oath to protect people? Like, I guess, like, if you're not their client, that oath doesn't apply to. I don't know. These people are sick. So to me, this is perspective that those Epstein files are never going to be revealed because it's beyond politicians. Okay, you're talking doctors, lawyers, legacies of families that try to protect themselves, conceal themselves, keep themselves away from controversy. If that man was out there getting collateral on people, right? That man was probably getting collateral for the people that paid him to get the collateral, but he was also getting collateral for himself. And I'm pretty sure that they have a lot of files and a lot of collateral on a lot of people, and they're just waiting. The government got blackmail collateral for forever with this Epstein. They probably killed Jeffrey Epstein. They keep talking about, Jeffrey Epstein may not be dead. I wouldn't be surprised if the U.S. government killed his ass because he had so much collateral on people. And again, he was bribing Bill Gates. Okay? He was bribing Bill Gates. There was no way he was going to be alive. He was probably better unalive than alive at that point when you start bribing big hitters in U.S. corporations, all right? We're still gangsters as well. The United States is still a gangster nation, all right? All right. You have a good day, too. And so we're going to pray for everybody. We are going to pray for everybody because, these are just some wild stories. I mean, off of the war stuff, Iran stuff, the Trump administration F show, the Candace Owens obsession with trying to find Charlie Kirk's killer, there's other effed up things going on in this world. Like lawyers banging their family dogs and countless numbers of doctors violating not just patients, small patients. These people are being caught with collateral that is child porn. And these are so-called doctors, esteemed people in society. This is the sick world that we live in, you guys. This is a sick world that we live in. And these are Satan's chosen people. They are Satan's chosen people. What else was on my radar? You guys like my head wrap? It's been hot. And I've made a decision. I'm sorry, I'm tired. I do these live streams right after my full work day and just trying to get into, just relax. So I plan these and then I regret it. And then I'm like, okay, just do it. But it's been hot. And, it's funny. I love my people. I really do. But, I just feel like, and now I'm not even going to just confine this to my people. I just feel like insecure people, they're always going to, hate something that somebody else is doing or trying. So I'm like, I've been wrapping my head up for like literally for years. Like when it's hot, it's my resort, whatever. But I'm like, this is like literally my head wrap summer because I want my hair cool. I don't want to even think about doing nothing but moisturizing, twisting, and putting a head wrap on. And you got these, black women like, forget all that natural stuff. Just go get your hair done, sis. And you look at, their idea of getting your hair done is a bunch of heat in your hair, processing your natural hair, right? I haven't put heat in my hair in years, and it's actually a lot healthier. But their idea of getting your hair done is heat and a shit ton of product and a lot of sprays that dry your hair out. And it's like, I look at, human beings as different variations of plants. And so, obviously I'm in the camp that black people do not have nappy hair. It's just that a lot of black people are not well hydrated. And if you are a person who gardens, you probably know this very well that, darker pigment, plants, they can stand, sunlight better, right? But they require a lot more water a lot of times, than some of your lighter pigment plants if they're not like these big water whore plants, right? So humans are like variations of plants. We come from the dust. And so we have to treat ourselves like plants, right? So it's like, if your hair is dry, or it's graying, right? Then that means that, obviously there's a mineral deficiency. And just like, you love your plants and you give them a newt boost or, a mineral boost or whatever, your body, wants the same thing. You know what I mean? And to me, I find that we as, black women in these European realities, we have sort of, and I'm not even talking about going back to roots of Africa because I feel like black Americans, we are our own culture, but our culture has been very much woven into European mindsets, styles, and standards of beauty where we forgot how to be beautiful without all of that. You know what I mean? Like, I know, black women who, they'll wear, like the ones that don't give a fuck, they'll wear the bonnets. But, you got some black women, they will not go anywhere with their hair wrapped. Their hair got to be laid, it got to be gelled, it got to be in place, and all that stuff like that. And all that stuff ruins the hair because it has a lot of alcohol in it. You know what I mean? And so I find that when you look at women, black women who truly do go, natural, where they are twisting, they're wearing twists, in their hair, or they're, locking their hair and then they're just wrapping it up, their hair is healthier, right? It's healthier. And I think that we need to get out of the mindset that, our kinky curly hair is not pretty. You have to create wave definition. We got to learn how to treat our hair, basically. So it's kind of crazy how some, black women, they are so subscribed to the European way. And I used to be like that too. So I'm just, calling the consciousness. So when you get to where I'm at in my life, where, I can appreciate, my face, without the lashes, without all the extra shit. I can wear my head covered and I can still feel beautiful. You know what I mean? And when you get to this point in your life, you will understand that, black is beautiful. We don't need to straighten or over process our hair to achieve beauty. And really, it's crazy because since I started wearing twists and head wraps, I don't even feel like I look right with my hair straight. And now every time I look at a black woman with her hair straightened like Europeans, it looks weird to me now. Like, and that's kind of where what happens when you truly get into, the true essence of natural. It's like even black women straightening their hair starts to look really weird to you. Like, I mean, even if it's their own damn hair. And I'll tell you another thing that's just really weird to me. You know what I mean? Black women who have very full, nice grades, thick hair, and they add the hair to their hair. To me, I mean, I understand you're trying to embrace a style that your hair doesn't allow, but in a way, I kind of feel like I just feel like we don't like our we got to learn how to like every single thing about ourselves, learn how to style ourselves according to our hair type, not somebody else's hair type. And that's just 100, because I feel like the more we continue to perm and process our hair, the more we weaken our hair like the Europeans. Like, black hair is way stronger than European hair, but the more we process it, the more our men cut their hair, right? The more they condition their hair not to grow, right? The more they start having that premature balding. And, that's why I don't, I kind of go through I kind of take the Lord's advice to Samson's mom, and I just stopped cutting my son's hair. And I'm just going to just let it grow out and just let him be a Lion of Judah, like he was, like his true bloodline, you know, and just let it go. So, anyways, you guys, that was just my small talk for this Wednesday. Let me know what you guys think about these wicked folks doing these wicked things to these animals and these children. We gonna pray for everybody. That's all we can do, because a lot of stuff is beyond our control, but we control what we can control. And part of it is calling these people out. You know what I mean? And a lot of these people come from lineages of evil. I was looking at an old Oprah show, and she was interviewing this woman who was part of this, Jewish family, who was part of a cult. And I'm not saying all Jewish families are part of a satanic cult in which they consume children, but you have Jeffrey Epstein's niece on the mic talking about she was part of a satanic cult. They said that they were Jewish people, and yet they were involved in these, sex cult things. So, the patterns of these things kind of do not lie, and you start to kind of see the reoccurring patterns of lineages of people who are continuing patterns of their bloodlines from ancient times until this day. So we just pray for everybody. And again, 2 Timothy 3:1-5, it tells us that in the last days, critical times, hard to deal with, will be here. Men will be what? Lovers of themselves, lovers of money, haughty, right? Haughty, blasphemers, right? Having no natural affection, right? That no natural affection that scripture talks about is things like this. It's the parents who are killing their children, the children who are killing their parents. All of these things that to us, in other generations would seem unfathomable, these are reoccurring realities. So again, we just pray for the Most High to say that it's enough and put an end to this wicked system of things. But until He does, remain righteous. Try to read and understand the Word of God, and by all means, love your neighbor as yourself. If you would not disrespect or abuse yourself, do not disrespect or abuse your neighbor. Bye. Oh, it doesn't end. Here we go.